Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're in the process of trying to produce a goldfinch, okay? And this is the one I did just to get started so you can see how it looks and so on. I'm going to follow up with how I go about creating the templates so that you could produce these at home, okay? And for some of you, I don't know if you've ever done it, if you have a bandsaw available, I'm showing you how that you could do this yourself. And then what I'm going to do, probably on the next video, because right now I'm just trying to make a quick video to get this portion of it out of the way, and then I'll actually show you how to cut it on the bandsaw and so on. But for those who don't have a bandsaw and you need blanks, and the blank is just that. Hang on. I put it somewhere. Hang on 1 second here. Back again. Sorry about that. The blank is this, and it's, some people call it a rough out. This is what it is, and this is done in basswood. Now, I've had some people talking about Tupelo. I have a limited amount of Tupelo. If you would like the bird to be done in Tupelo, it would cost about maybe $1 or $2 more for the blank, because the wood isn't always available. And I will make that available if somebody requests it. But I use basswood almost on everything I've done since I've started. I've done Tupelo. I've done cedar as well, white cedar, okay? There's not that many different types of woods that I go with. And I would recommend you, if you are going to start out, don't use pine. And I don't know if I explained this before. Pines have a lot of tars in it. And it's detrimental in two ways. You can get a finished piece like the one I just showed you, this one here, have it all painted, and then what happens with pine, the tars start leaching right on through and will actually put spots or blotches on through the paint, okay? The other issue that you have also with pine is that when you go to burn, the burning can flare up a little bit, depending if you hit a pitch pocket, I think they call it, or whatever. And you want to avoid that. And it just tends to be a nuisance as far as wood. A lot of people that when they first start out try to use pine because it's a cheap way to get going, and somebody's got a 2x4 somewhere around the house, and that's what they start with. But I would say if you could get, like, go to a lumber yard or even online. I try not to sell. I do have basswood, but I try not to sell it because by the time I ship it out to you, and the weight of the basswood, you pay such an absorbent amount. I would try to check with if not a mill, a lumber mill, or something like that, is to check with maybe somebody that's cutting down trees that may run across basswood. And it isn't basswood is the tree. It's a linden tree. But why it's called basswood, I have no clue. If somebody can give me that information, I'd appreciate it, because all over the years, I've often wondered how it went from linden to basswood. But there's probably a reason for it. I just don't know it myself. But anyway, I use basswood most of the time, but I do have some Tupelo. And the reason with Tupelo is a softer, it is a softer wood, and it textures easier with your bits, and it burns nice too, as far as you want to go. And it's a lot of people like it. It actually grows in the bogs, like in Louisiana or something like that. And it's only the first 5 or 6 feet out of the water. It's the good wood. Some of the Tupelo that's out there, you could hammer nails with it because the wood can be really hard beyond that first 5 or 6 inches, 5 or 6 feet out of the water. At least that's what I was told. I've seen some Tupelo really hard, but I've been sticking with basswood, and that's the game I play. Some say that it fuzzes up, and it does a little bit, but you can handle that. I think it's not like a major league issue. You can sand it and get it really nice, and I don't think the fuzzing's been an issue per se, but hey, to each his own, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera down so that you could see from the pattern that I'll show you how to cut out make a pattern, or I should say a template. And then from there, I'll show you how you project it onto the wood, and what not to use too in that respect. And then on the next video, I don't want to go too long on this one because I'm trying to do it to give you just so much information each time and not have such a real long video going on. When I was doing the owl, I had one that was over an hour, and I didn't realize it, but I'm trying to give you the information that you would need, and my thought process is just to keep on giving it to you, and I don't watch the time, so I don't want to bog you down on the idea that you know, it's a real long video. I try to keep them at a minimum so that you'll get the information that you need, and it's you know, you get these little bites of information rather than going forever. Okay, so bear with me on that end. And if anybody is interested in doing this bird, I do have kits. Besides, you can buy the blank by itself if that's what you want, or I can sell you the template, or not the template, but the pattern, this here guy. And the kits have the pattern, it has the blank, which I call blank. Some call them rough outs or cutouts, okay? And I include in the kit the feet, the eyes, the pattern, and the basswood blank. So that's a package in itself. So it's just after that, it's you working along with our project. And if you ever need paints too, I have some acrylic paints, like a kit of about so many paint tubes, enough to do whatever we're doing most of the time. And if you need that, or brushes, I have brushes too and stuff like that, and they're fairly inexpensive, you know. So I do have a catalog, and I will get that out to whoever may want it. And you would have to give me your email address, and I'd get that out as well. And then we can go on from there as far as, you know, we can converse back and forth. I used to have a website, and I don't anymore. I gave that up a while ago, and I've been just basically teaching on YouTube. I actually stopped classes. I used to run like 4 classes a week here in my shop, and when the virus came, I just stopped, and then I started to evaluate how long I've been doing this, and so I'm not trying to maintain classes. I'm trying to give them to you. And it's something I hope is helpful for a lot of people. And I only reached a certain number in my classes. And in this way, everybody's got the advantage of getting my information that I taught out to you guys. So I hope this is helpful to you. And we'll proceed on and let's see how we make out here on this one. It's not going to be a major league deal to paint this. So it's just once we get carving, it the rest of it comes fairly fast, much faster than the owl, as some of you know. So hang on, and I'm going to turn the camera down, and we'll show you the rest of the story, as they say. All right. Okay. On the pattern that I've done, I'm going to have it in feet and inches and also millimeters. So you're going to see that following up, because some people have requested me to give them in millimeters and some want it in feet and inches. Okay, so, or I should say inches and fractions of inches. What I try to do, this is to scale, by the way. Anytime you get a pattern from me, other than like the owl, the actual size of that owl is about 20 inches long. In the case of these smaller birds, these are to scale. You can put a ruler onto the pattern and take it measurements, and it should be right on or pretty close to that, okay? And that is one thing I just want to let you know on that. In the way I go about making templates so that I can come up with this bird exactly the way I have it here is by you getting a cardboard. Now, I've used, like, this is like a waxy surface type cardboard, and I've got this, and then this was just regular cardboard that I got, and it's like has some thickness to it. And these are good in respect to it's got some wearability, as far as when you start doing these birds, if you're doing more than one after a while, when you're going around trying to outline this, it's stiff enough, and even this is stiff enough that it holds up well, okay? So I'm going to show you how I go about doing this, and what I'm going to do is get a piece of cardboard too. Not that I'm going to do it totally here. I'm going to show you something. Let's see. This is not the cardboard to use. This has no body to it at all. It's too thin. If you can get something a little firmer, but I'm just going to use this as an example just to get you off and running on here. So what I try to do is make these templates. And what I'm going to try to show you is these templates are exactly the outline that you see here. This is the top view. This is the profile view. So to get this is what I do. I don't use carbon paper because the carbon tends to get on everything. And I don't even know if it's available. I haven't used carbon paper, and I don't know if people use that anymore. I have what they call graphite paper. And you could get this at most hobby shops, okay? Or even art supply places. And it's got like a film on one side, and it has like the graphite side on the other. So you got to make sure that you get the right side down. So you would have your cardboard down, then you would put your template or your pattern down, and then the thing I like to use is a ball pen. Okay, I'll get a ball pen, and what I'm going to do, because it's firmer, I'll run my line across the beak here and get that, and follow all these lines, and I'm just going to do a little bit here so that you can get the general gist of it. And here's the eye, and then here is the cheek, what I call the cheek. It's probably not the proper name for it, but there's like the head brought out. So if you want to see and make sure you're doing it right, there it is. It transfers over right to here. Here it is, here, here. And what I usually do after I've done this, I come in with a Sharpie, the finer one or something like that. Let's see. I have one floating around here somewhere in my repertoire of stuff. And what I'll do after I get the whole bird on the cardboard, then I come back in and I go right over the line with the ink, and it just makes it stand out more. And all you really need to do is accomplish all the outside parts of this to do it. And you don't need to do all the feathering and everything else. You're just going for the outline. And what you end up with is something like this, okay? And you cut that out from your cardboard, and you have the whole outline of the bird. Just trim it with scissors or something like that. And for those who may have a bandsaw, if you get thick enough cardboard, you can run it through the bandsaw and get the same flavor of the outline, and it accomplishes that. The nice thing about the graphite paper, it doesn't get all the graphite all over the place. It really stays in the location. Carbon paper, I've had it where I'll get like a block of wood, and when I do it, then I got carbon all over the place. You can use it, don't get me wrong. It's just you got to deal with that. And I'm trying to get you to alleviate problems along the way. It's livable, but it's not my cup of tea. So I will outline this, and a smart way to do that sometime, and this is another trick, is sometimes when you're outlining this to transfer it with the graphite paper in between here onto your cardboard, is to use a red pencil or a blue one, because this is in black and white here, and you're not sure if you captured everything. So another color, a ballpoint pen now, would be ideal for getting all that, to see what you did and what you didn't do. And then after you do that, then you go ahead and we do the other thing, which is the top view here, and go around and get all that outline out, and it transfers onto the cardboard, and then we cut that out, okay, either by scissors or the bandsaw if you have cardboard thick enough that you can do that, okay? In this case, this cardboard has got some body to it, and like I said, it's almost like a waxy type thing, but you can use almost anything. Even this cardboard, as much as I complain about it, and it doesn't have a lot of body to it, you could use this too, okay? And as long as it's going to allow you to cut through, and then and I'll show you on the next step, when we want to transfer this onto the wood to be able to cut these out, how I want you to approach this, okay? So I get a block of wood. This is basswood, and this is just a remnant of pieces I've been cutting out, along the way here. And you need to get a piece of wood. Now the grain, I know, is going this way, okay, on the piece, okay? I know that because it's the way I bought the wood. It was cut out in big, about 5-6 feet long and so many feet wide, and the grain goes this way, and I know that. And that's what you want to determine, to make sure that that grain is going where you want it to go. So what I do is I want to start by cutting out the profile. The profile sets you up, okay, for what we want to do. And what I like to do is I usually use my ballpoint pen. I know the wood may screw up a ballpoint, but if you can get an inexpensive ballpoint and just run around, you can lay this down, make sure you're holding it down, come around. And the other thing I didn't tell you, and I will in a second here once I finish running this ballpoint all the way around, it outlines this. No, it doesn't. See that? Guess what? My ballpoint just ran out of ink. So let's try another one. There we go. Let me put that back. And before I start again, on this template that I made, I want to go with the grain, and the grain is going this way and this way. So when I put the piece on, I know the grain is going this way. I want to have this go with the grain, okay? So I'm going to set this up. I'm going to put this right back where I was. And you're going with the grain. As long as you're pretty much in the same direction as the grain. Let's hope that this will work. Yeah, let's go. Here we go. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to lay that around. And I'm coming down here. And there's our outline. And I use a ballpoint pen because it stands out a lot better than pencil right now. So you have the outline, and if you need to touch it up a little bit just to make sure you can see everything before you put it on a bandsaw. Now, before I go to other steps and stuff like that, the other thing I wanted you to tell you that I should have told you, and we will cut this out on the bandsaw on the next video, but here's the other thing you need to have. This piece of wood is taking care of the area I need to be able to follow the grain and also have enough room to cut the template out. I mean, cut around the template, okay? But what I forgot to tell you is what's very important, besides having a piece that's flat and big enough to handle it here, you need to have the width to be able to take care of what would be the top view. So if I laid this over here, you can see that there's plenty of room from this side to that side. It's only this wide right here, so you have enough room. But in the case of this, if I measure this real quickly here, this measures about 1.5 inches across at its widest point, okay? So that means I would need a piece of wood that has a thickness of at least 1.5 inches, probably a little bit more. But here's what I did here. If you put this on the edge of this wood here, this measures from here to here about 2 1/8 of an inch up here. So there's plenty of room. So when we go to cut this out, then this will be able to fit on the top of this, and I'll show you how to do that afterwards. And we have the room. If this bird was wider, we may not have the room. So we do have it with this one. Okay, so you have to consider that this width of the bird on the top view will fit on this. Okay, I hope I made myself clear. I don't know if I did, but you'll see it as we go. And I just want to get that information out to you. And then what I'll do is I'll set it up so that you could see exactly how I cut these blanks out in my back room where I do a lot of my bandsawing. The other thing I want to express to you too is when I made these patterns, I don't know if I covered it on the other the video before this, I have, in most cases, most birds, I have a center line coming down the body, and then I have a center line for the head. The reason why I do that is because turning the head gives movement in the piece, and that's something I'm trying to get you to understand. Years ago, we used to do the bird completely straight ahead. I would turn this head and it would be straight ahead. Now, what we used to do after we did that is we'd cut the head off at the neck and then turn the bird and glue it back on. Then you had a seam you had to worry about. So I try to alleviate the seams because sometimes when you put a filler in or something like that, it doesn't texture properly sometimes. It doesn't burn properly if you're using a burning pen. So to avoid that, I cut the blank out so that the head's turned already. And all we have to do with is deal with this center line, that everything is symmetrical about this center line on this bird here, okay? And that is what I usually do. It gets a little tricky, I'll be honest with you, but we work on center lines. Whatever you do on to the left, you do to the right, and so on, you know. And it's the same way here. We're doing the same on either side, but the head is very important. We got to get the look of the bird, and I try to not have a seam. And some, you know, what we did years ago is we cut the bird right through here on the bandsaw, or cut it with a saw, and then turned it and then glued it on again, okay? I don't like to do that at all. So whenever you get a blank from me, you're going to have it turned, okay? And that is something that I should have had like another template here. Let me see if I can do something real quick and dirty here. I'm going to try to show you just to give you a little more. I'm going to do this top view, but it's just this portion here. It's like here. Now I'll try to do this quick and dirty, so this isn't exactly perfect, but here's the beak. And then we have this coming around like this, which is this portion here. And then we have another one that comes out to here. So I'll heavy this up so you can get the whole gist of it. And this will come out to here. So let me get my ink pencil here and I'll show you. This goes like this. Here's the beak coming out, the beak coming out. This is your inner part where the eye would be attached. It would be like in here and here. And this out here is the cheek part, which is this guy sticking out here and here, okay? And now what you can do, let me show you. just to give you some other ways of changing this. I've actually done this goldfinch with its head looking back on itself. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm trying to get you to see some of the tricks of the trade here, in a sense of you can reposition birds, okay? They don't have to be exactly the way you see them out of a book. Now, I have this, and it's basically something like that, okay? It fits right on there. Now, you can turn this, and you can reposition that head this way. Not the one you're going to get if you got it from me, because everything's been cut. But if you have it at home and you have a pattern and you're trying to develop your own, you can do it to the point that you can even turn the head so far that you can have it looking out this way, or you can have it looking out the other way. Okay, you can change this look where this bird's going, or maybe you don't even want it tilted this way. You want it tilted that way for other reasons. Maybe you're doing a male and a female, and you got one looking one way, another looking another way. And just to show you what I'm talking about, here's I apologize for how clean it is. This is a Baltimore Oriole, and here's what I did on this one. I have a center line coming up the middle, but look where the head's at. It's straight out at us. It's looking right at us. And this is another way of repositioning the head if that's what you wanted to do. You know, you don't have to get locked in on just what I give you. You are, in a sense, if you got a blank from me, but if you wanted to make your own and reposition it, you can get the head and then swivel it to the position you want it. I actually did a blank where the head was just about turned 180 degrees, and I did something like this. I saw it in some publication one time, and it looked like a neat pattern, and I did that. So, but you can change these. And another thing too, on the wings here, especially on the primaries here, this grouping is laying on top of this side. So these are encroaching over here. If you wanted to change that, you could do that too. Here's a bird where there's separation between the two wings, and you could leave, see, like there's a gapping right here, but you could have continued that down and moved the wings out on either side to have it go all the way down to the tail. So there's ways of changing the bird positioning if you want. And then if you were doing like a cardinal, like in the profile position, not the cardinal, I'm sorry, the robin, these wings sometimes, instead of being up here, are dropping down here. The robin has a tendency to have its wings, what I call a drop wing. Let's see if I have another bird that's floating around here. This is getting a little closer to it. This is a flicker, and this is what I was telling you. This wing is here. This one is pulled up. Here's one that is dropping down. So when the bird is standing, it almost looks like it's touching the ground, okay? And you can reposition these wings to suit yourself. And you can see how much of a gap this opens up, where this is crisscrossing each other right in here. So don't get locked into any one position. You can pick the position that you would like, and that's another way of changing it out. The actual width of the bird is basically what I'm giving you here, but you can pull these apart, and it will get a little wider. You can see by pulling these out, it's got to get wider to get this out. And then you can see that instead of this laying on top of that one, this has got a pocket in here now. So these are things you got to play with and draw and understand that you can change the position of the bird, okay? And it just depends. Like I position these birds differently on the head sometime. In fact, let me show you. I think on one of the goldfinch, let's see if I have it here. I do. Yeah, here it is. I have a pattern on the goldfinch of here's the one I'm pretty much going to do you follow me in these videos. But here's another one I did. Here it is here, and instead of the beak coming out this way, I've kicked it more over here. So here's another direction where this beak is coming out in this direction and not where I have it. So you can change these, and I just want to give you information on that so that you're not locked in to just what you see. You are, in a sense, if you get the blank from me, but if you're creating your own, you've got a lot of flexibility. And keep that in mind when you're doing birds, and try to study them. Most books will give you almost a profile to start, okay? And you can almost get that. And if you look on YouTube, not YouTube, on the internet, you'll get drawings that are almost in the profile position. And then your biggest trick in most cases is you don't know what the width is, because you really can't determine that. And there's no one photo after another that says this is the same distance away or the same width. So you got to sort of wing this. I've done this over the years, and a lot of people have asked me that, excuse me, that I know what the width of the bird should be. So these are pretty much what the bird is. Now you can get some that are, if you make if you take too much off in a blank and you make the bird thinner, you can get away with it. Not everything is perfect. It's like humans. Some of us have more of a girth and some of us don't. That goes with the birds too. It's not like it's locked in steel here. So, but this is a good measurement. The other thing too is this profile here, the distance from here to here, is pretty true, okay? But you can modify these. You can get away with that. You can change them a little bit. And I just want to let you know that, so that when you get to develop your own patterns and how I go about doing it, the feather layout's another story. You would have to get skins. And as I told somebody recently here, there are books out there that give you good layouts. Stiller, which I think I mentioned in the video before this, has patterns and stuff like that. But even with those, I'm not so locked into what they do 100%. There's a lot of flexibility in what you can do with the changing of these patterns, okay? And I do that. And I would say that every time I do a bird, especially with you guys, from my old patterns, I got different layouts for these, goldfinches all the time. I mean, I'll change them, and I won't keep the same thing. I won't do the same thing twice. I'll try to change it out just to give a variety, and that's what I do. And I just want you to know that I do change things, and you can too. There's nothing says that you can't make a change to it. And I want you to be aware of that. And if you have the capability to draw, I'm not that bad with it. I tend to change things, and I think, I don't know if I did it in the last video or not, but I've actually had the tail coming in this direction, and then the body going in this direction, and then the head turned this direction. So it was like an arc going through here. So there's different ways of changing this out, and you can do that. So I just want you to know that there's a lot of flexibility in these. And at the same time, when you get done all that, you want it to make it look like it's not really goofy, it's going out in some goofy direction. But birds can change their shape and move things around, within reason. Okay, so I just want to give you that information. So I'm going to stop this video now on the idea. I'm going to show you how to cut this out on the next video and do the top view, okay, which gets a little tricky, but I'll explain that and get you straightened out on that too, so that you could do that. But if anybody wants to do the project and you want to do this bird the way I show it, I have kits for it, which gives you everything you need, except you got to carve it and then texture it. Excuse me. And I'll show you how to paint it and how to mount it and everything else. So stay with me, if you will, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there. I hope you're enjoying the videos I give you. If you do, please give me a thumbs up in the what's the name, in the video itself. And if you have any friends that may be interested and want to try some of these, I would ask you if you would pass that information on to them. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can within periods of the video. I try to publish like every 3 or 4 days, but that doesn't always happen. As life goes on, you find that out. Something else enters into it. But I will try to keep that up to give you enough to do each time, and we'll develop the whole thing, and you'll see it just like the finished piece that I have here. And you can see here, I got that coming up and the head turned here. So we can get you to that point, and I think it's a pretty bird, so I think we'll get you there. So bear with me and hang in there, and I hope you enjoy this project too. And I'll see you on the next video. And if anybody needs to get to me for the catalog or the patterns or whatever you need, my email address is Rauscher, R-A-U-S-C-H-E-R, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, 7@gmail.com. It's also in the description within the video. So if you look in there, it'll be there as well. So hope to see you on the next video, and we are going to do the goldfinch. So hang in there, and we'll see you then. Bye now.